Merry Christmas Eve. I just want to show you guys the sun. Well, I just want to show you guys the sky real quick. Guys, I still don't really know what I'm doing with my bangs. It'd be looking a little crazy. So the other day I was driving and I made the decision to put my phone down and look at the sky. I don't know. I just was like, I just want to appreciate nature. I had that kind of little moment. And as I was looking at the sky, I just was thinking of the sky. And then I started thinking of the universe. And then the question popped in my head and it was like, yo, think of all the things that occur under the sky. Like all the good, all the bad, and all the ugly. And then my next thought was, and God, you see all that. That moment of an experience got me to think on what it must be like to be God, specifically to be all-knowing. So fast forward, or maybe this had happened before that, but I was laying in my bed and I was just talking to God and I found myself asking him, God, how are you doing? Because I know you have a heart that feels things. It's evident in the Bible. You feel sadness, disappointment, wrath, love, joy. Clearly things have some kind of effect on your heart. And more than that, you know all things. It had me thinking of three other things. The first is how much of a burden it is to be all-knowing. That to be all-knowing is a burden. Because imagine literally carrying the weight of all knowledge. All the good, all the bad, and all the ugly. In one day, God sees birth of babies and marriages that are happy and joyful and pure, and then on the other hand, he's seeing murder and rape and evil in the church and all these different things. He's seeing all of that. Under the sun, under the sky, he knows and he sees all of that at the same time. He is all-knowing. The second thought that it got me thinking was how much we as humans, but specifically believers, are not content with not being all-knowing. If you look in Genesis, that was the temptation, to be all-knowing. That's what the fall was. What did Satan, in the form of a snake, go and tell Eve? First, he lied. He lied and he said, you can be like God. But what they didn't realize was that they were already made in God's image and likeness. They were already like God. Then he says another lie. God does not want you to eat this fruit. That part is true. But his reasoning was a lie. Because if you eat this fruit, you will be like God and know all things. So then Eve looks at this fruit, sees that it's pleasing to the eyes, and because it's fruit, she saw that it was good to eat. It was like the first doubt with the flesh. I'm looking at something and it pleases me. It's pleasing to the eyes. But then I use my logic and my rationality and I reason that, you know what? This is a fruit. Fruit is food. Isn't food good to eat? That's the purpose of it, right? Why would God put this fruit in the middle of this garden if he didn't want me to eat it? She reasons all of that while having the influence of the lie that if I eat this fruit, I can be like God and know all things. There was this moment perhaps in Eve's heart where she was like, what is it that I don't know? Like, what is it that I don't know that God does not want me to know? Whatever it is, I feel wronged and I need to go and know it. So she goes and she eats the fruit. What did God say? God said, do not eat this fruit. For if you eat it, you shall die. He didn't lie to them. He told them the truth. He left the fruit there so that they will always have a choice, though. Not a torture, not like I want to see if you're going to do it. I want to see if you're going to do it. No, it was always a choice. Because God did not place Adam and Eve in this fixated utopia where they had no other choice but to do good because there was no option to do evil. How could you know that someone is good if they've had no other option to be otherwise? So to me, I started thinking about how a lot of us aren't content with the fact that God does not allow us to know something. Because don't get me wrong, God answers our questions. But him being all-knowing, he knows when it's good or bad or right or wrong if he should let you know the thing that you're asking him to know. Imagine knowing all things. That is what makes God God. He has the capacity to bear that knowledge. Me and you, we don't have that capacity. We cannot bear the burden of knowing all things, of being all-knowing. We cannot bear it. If we were to know all things, boosh, mind blown, literally. Like with the little that we do know, we say we going crazy. We say we stressed out. And I'm saying this with sensitivity, but I want us to understand where we stand and where God stands when it comes to knowing all things. This is about the bigness of God and the smallness of human beings. I'm not saying in this video that we shouldn't ask God questions. All throughout the Bible, that's what God's people did. They asked questions, they asked for clarifications. But if you noticed, the wise ones always said, thy will be done. You know what, God? I'm asking you this, but even if you don't answer me, so long as you are with me, it's okay. I found myself saying that. I said, God, I don't understand this. And to be honest, I would love if you could just put some clarity on this. But even if you don't, so long as you hold my hand, I say it just like this, so long as you hold my hand and walk me through, I know I'm not going to walk through blind. Because the one who sees all things is leading me. The one who knows all things is leading me. Us not knowing all things leads us to trust. If you watch Investigation Discovery, you would see retired detectives say that they remember their first murder case, or they think about all the murder case they dealt with and it affected them. It mentally affected them for the rest of their lives. They haven't been able to really cope with or like grasp the knowledge of how evil human beings can actually be. So it's that again, it's like the little knowledge that we do have about the world, we can't contain it without feeling like we're gonna lose our minds. So imagine God. A lot of us like to puff up our chest and think that, well, if God made this decision, he must not know then. He must not know that this is just not the right decision. But he's all-knowing, and we're not. Guys, today's encouragement is to trust the all-knowingness of God. It's not easy. It doesn't take away the pain. But we have to humble ourselves, guys, and realize we can't do better than God. We cannot choose better. We cannot decide better. That was the temptation in Genesis. The temptation that you could become like God and know all things. And you know, it's so crazy when Adam and Eve heard the commandment, do not eat the fruit. They heard burden. They heard, God, why? What they didn't understand was that God was protecting them. Think about this. For every question that God answers, you're going to have another one. So at what point is not knowing going to be good enough for you? At what point is not understanding everything, the things that boggle you, going to be okay for you? Because at some point it has to be. No believer has ever lived in this world from the Bible times to now and was able to understand everything. You could spend your whole life learning about God and Jesus and becoming a Bible scholar and having knowledge of every religion in the world. And guess what? My body about to die. You still won't know everything. So be encouraged, guys, today to trust the all-knowingness of God, to allow the knowledge of the fact that he is all-knowing bring you closer to him, and be content with not knowing everything. Still ask your questions. Still have that one-on-one time with God. He likes answering the questions of his children. But however he so chooses to do that, and however so much he chooses to reveal to you, train your heart to learn to trust him. That's today's Vlogmas. I'll see you guys tomorrow.